Welcome to another episode of Metal and Beer. Today I'm trying a beer called Dunk by Coppertail Brewing. Now Coppertail is a brewery, it's local to me, they're based out of Tampa, Florida, and they have grown quite a bit over the years and they've got some pretty awesome beers. So if you're ever in Tampa, look up Coppertail Brewing. So anyway, I am going to be drinking the Dunk beer, and actually I think this is the last of the 6-pack that I have. I've been sipping on this for a little while here, and this is actually a German style dark lager. So let's give this a pour. Now I typically love German style beers. I mean, I like pretty much all of them. The Schwarzbier, the Hefeweizen, the Dunkels here, the double box, all of those. But the Dunkel style beers, these are especially good, which is why I picked this up. Man, and that is dark. So it's always kind of interesting to me when a brewery replicates a beer from another region, in this case, of course, Germany. And for Dunkels, there's actually a special mashing technique called decoction. And I'm not really sure what goes into that, but it's what gives the Dunkel style beers that distinct flavor. I can tell you this, drinking the Dunk and comparing it to other German Dunkel beers, man, they did quite a good job. Now, of course, I've already tasted this a few times, but I'm going to pretend I haven't had this yet. We're going to taste this together. So, cheers. Man, it's definitely got that malt that you would expect from a Dunkel, from a German style dark lager. And it sits really nice on the palate, even after that first sip there. That's a really full-bodied beer as well. Kind of heavy, like heavy metal. All right, so most Dunkels are anywhere between like 4.5 and 6% ABV. This is right at 5.2. And it's also a seasonal beer. I believe this beer is only available right now between the months of September and December, which I'm filming this in December 2020. So I'm glad I got my hands on this stuff before they stopped producing it for this year. Now, let me just take a look at the back of the can. I always like to read, what breweries put on their cans or bottles here. Coppertail saying this is a perfect balance on rich roasted malts and German hops. Nice. And of course, again, it's at 5.2% alcohol there. So yeah, it is really a nice malty beer. It's definitely got those German dark lager characteristics to it, and it's just solid. And again, it's pretty bold as well, and dark. So if you like dark beers, this is definitely something you want to try. It's still the middle of December, so I think I've got time to go pick up maybe another 6-pack or 2 of this stuff. But yeah, again, that is the Dunk by Coppertail Brewing. Now it's time for the metal part of Metal and Beer, and I'm going to talk briefly about a specific album by a thrash metal band, but this thrash metal band is not one of the bands that's from that era. They actually started out in 2009, and when I say they are a thrash metal band, they are the epitome of just pure, unadulterated thrash metal. And I actually just discovered them this past week, kind of by accident. So the band's name is Shrapnel. They're actually from the UK. Now, not to be confused with, I think there was like a punk rock band way, way back called Shrapnel. And then, of course, you've got Shrapnel Records, and that's kind of how I found this band. I'll tell you that story real quick. Now, the album I want to highlight is the one they released this year, 2020, called Palace for the Insane. And there's really nothing in particular, like there's not one particular song I want to highlight from the album, because the entire album from my standpoint is just awesome. Now I need to go back and listen to it more. I just discovered this band last week by accident, but of course I listened to this album. I definitely like this album, but I've gone back through some of their other prior albums. I think this is the 6th album they've released, And just everything I'm hearing from this band, I really like. And I'm like, man, why didn't I know about these guys, you know, prior to last week? So real quick, the story, I had posted something on my Facebook. You guys know I'm a musician as well. There's a link in the description of this YouTube video to follow me and all that stuff on there as a musician. I kind of do this metal and beer thing as kind of like a side gig because I just love drinking beer and talking about metal with you guys. So anyway, I was chatting with a friend of mine and, you know, on Facebook on my musician page, and we were talking about guitar solos, something I'd posted, a guitar solo I'd posted, and he's like, man, that sounds like Shrapnel. Well, I was like, well, I need to look up the band Shrapnel. I don't know who that is. He's like, no, I actually meant the record label, the bands under the record label from back in those days. I'm like, oh, well, by that time he had responded to me, I had already sought out the band called Shrapnel. I'm like, huh, I gotta look up this band, see what he was talking about. And that's how I discovered them. So, of course, I responded back. I'm like, dude, there actually is a band called Shrapnel, and they're pretty cool. So that's the story of how I discovered Shrapnel. Anyway, great band. Definitely check them out. So once again, guys, the beer is Dunk by Coppertail Brewing, and I will leave links to both Coppertail Brewing and Shrapnel, the band, in the YouTube description, so definitely go check those out. Thank you for watching, guys. Please give this video a thumbs up. Don't worry, the beer can's empty, it's all in here. Please give this video a thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you on the next Metal and Beer Show.